can't always get it, you know. So I'm very pleased that after this last November's election, we had several small business Democrats elected. And so at this point, I know we have 3 additional Democratic caucus members who own their own businesses, and we have several more who are in the private sector, 2 of which specifically are in the finance side of things. So that diversity really is strengthening our caucus, in my opinion. As mentioned, I chair the Economic Development, Banking, Insurance, and Tourism Committee. Basically, business issues that come through the state come through my committee. We typically meet on Wednesdays and hold hearings to talk about legislation, also give opportunities for new initiatives to be addressed to the group that looks after business initiatives for the state. I also co-chair the ad hoc Small Business Caucus, which is new. We've never had that in Delaware. After I started it, I did find out that there are some other states that have similar programs, a handful of them. And my co-chair is another small business owner, a fellow named Dan Short. He's a Republican in Seaford. He's been serving the public for a very long time and is a great person to have as a co-chair. The impetus for having a small business caucus really came from my experience at the end of last session. There were, this is the process. In January, things are moving a little bit slower. We're working bills. The budget process is getting worked on by particular committees, the Finance Committee, Bond Bill Committee. The bills that are coming through are not typically money-related types of bills in the beginning, but as you get to where we are right now, bills start coming a whole lot faster. You have those, plus you have revenue bills, plus you have cutting bills, the budget stuff, and the agenda becomes very, very long, and things move incredibly quickly. And I became concerned about some of the legislation that was coming through in the last session that I thought had really significant ramifications, public policy ramifications, as well as impact on small businesses. There's one in particular that I'll share with you, just to give an example. And as a Democrat, I'm very sensitive to the role of minimum wage in our economy and making sure that people have a livable wage. But as a business person, I'm very sensitive to the role that plays in our business decisions as business owners. Well, there was a minimum wage bill that came out of a committee, I don't know, at one point on the Senate side. It passed the Senate. It was introduced on the House floor that same day. It was assigned to a House committee that same day. It had a hearing the next day, and the intention was for it to come up for a vote on Thursday. So it would have been Tuesday afternoon to Thursday afternoon. The legislation, essentially in a nutshell, said that we were to have the highest minimum wage in the nation in 2 years. That's my recollection of it. And, if we have an economy that supports the highest minimum wage in the nation in a 2-year period, God bless, and I will be thrilled for that. But that's just not how it works. So, some of us expressed our concern that was just too aggressive, and the bill did not actually make it onto the agenda. But it put the seed in my head that it would be, I think, a good thing for our state and a good thing for small and family businesses if the legislators who own their own businesses or work in their family businesses would get together with the intention of looking after legislation that's either helpful to small businesses or harmful to small businesses, so we can explain that to our colleagues in the caucuses. Now, I don't expect our majority leader, Pete Schwarzkopf, who's a retired police officer, to know what it means to run a business. That's not fair. What I expect from Pete, and among many things, is if there's a law enforcement bill on, there's a cop bill, I'm going to respect what Pete has to say, and I'm going to call on his background. And so I wanted our role as this group of legislators that are sensitive to small businesses there to explain that, yeah, raising the minimum wage 50% is here. It may seem like 2 quarters, but it's the upward pressure that comes up through your business and all the other, insurances and things that are impacted on that, they wouldn't know that. I couldn't expect them to know that if, given what their background is. So I took it on as my role. Danny Short joined me, and this past January we were able to actually get together this group of legislators that I described for you. And the neatest thing is it's really balanced. We have basically 6 Democrats who fall in that category of being small business owners and are working for their family business, and we have 6 Republicans who fall into that, and it's been just an incredibly rewarding experience. We've received a tremendous amount of support from the business community, whether it be individual businesses who are joining our meetings, or the larger representatives such as the chambers and DIDO. So it's really been an exciting experience. So what's the Small Business Caucus been up to? Let me share a little bit of that with you. We had 2 organizing meetings early in the session, and we've had, I think it's 3 meetings at this point to date. And we will continue to meet, although it's difficult, but we will continue to meet through the session. In the first meeting, Director Alan Levin was good enough to join us, as well as the State Chamber and the Delaware Central Chamber joined us. And we just kind of laid out in a sense, this is what we're trying to do. What we want to do is identify stumbling blocks for small businesses, identify opportunities, whether it be legislative, regulatory, what have you, that we can take steps to make it easier to be an entrepreneur, make it easier to protect your family and run your small business. So that means there was a good bit of brainstorming. We spent a significant amount of time, as I'm sure some of you will relate to, talking about the permitting process, talking about the UDC. And I have to give a lot of credit to Chris Coons, the county executive in Newcastle County, for as soon as he heard about the Small Business Caucus, he immediately called me and said, I'm there for you, I want to be at the table, whatever you need from me. I understand that we're part of the problem and we're part of the solution, and I want businesses to feel good. And he's, of course, specifically speaking about Newcastle County. In the second meeting that the Small Business Caucus had, Jane Armstrong from the Small Business Administration, a great resource in the state of Delaware, and somebody that is very excited about a job and is willing to travel and put a lot of energy out there, joined us to talk about the federal stimulus package and what that means for Delaware small businesses. And it was well received and greatly appreciated. And we had a little bit bigger turnout as the word's getting out about this. It's interesting. Danny and I usually sit together kind of towards the front of the table, and about halfway through each meeting, one of us will lean over and whisper what belongs on the next agenda, because this is just kind of organically revealing itself. And the themes, and it is not surprising, we talked about the permitting, but lending. Lending is obviously a very important and critical theme, and I believe later on this afternoon you're going to have a good workshop or roundtable from the banks and lending in the state of Delaware for small businesses, and of course insurance. Health employee insurance and workers' comp insurance is just critical issues. And so with that, with these recurring themes, in our last meeting we had the Bankers Association come in, and their bankers board was good enough to come down, and we talked about with the business owners in the room. These are our concerns and these are the challenges, and it was the beginning of the dialogue. There's much more to be done. There's more communication to take place, but it was a good